right. So happy Friday, everybody. I have good news. This is a shorter uh class. Like the majority of this class was supposed to be for like real play, role play, things like that. We are not going to do that tonight. It's Friday. I want to get you guys on your way and doing fun things tonight. So instead of being here with me, I will try to make it as fun as possible. The but I don't think we're going to be here for the full 2 hours. So I'm going to do my best. But it is a really important class tonight. So I do want to make sure that we do cover the stuff that we're supposed to cover today because lead follow-up is probably the most important thing that you will do as real estate agents. And so to talk about that tonight is going to be really, really important. For those who don't know me and who haven't been in the earlier classes or haven't been with one of me, I am Maggie McDowell. I'm your local regional tech trainer. You may know me from other things as the one who teaches on Mondays, Tech Your Business to the Next Level. But I have been with KW for 20 plus years. I just got back from Mega Camp, so I have a whole bunch of I'm very excited. Got a lot of things to talk about that. But yeah, so
Maggie,
yeah.
even the classes you're not at, you're brought up by the other leaders in almost every class. So I think we all know who you are, but
Oh, perfect. Only bad
everyone
things,
loves
I
you.
hope. Only bad things. That's all I want to hear. So cool. All right. So, and for those who just joined me, once again, if you have any questions, just shout it out. It is just me today. So without further ado, let's go. Alrighty. So, let me share my screen. Share. Okay. First test. Can you guys see that? All right, cool. We're doing well already. Excellent. Better than most days. All right. So today's class is keep every lead. All right, first of all, TCPA legal says hello. Don't ignore this. You're supposed to be on your best behavior. Don't call people who don't want to get called. Always ask for permission. Don't text people who don't want to get texted. All commissions are negotiable. And all AI stuff should be reviewed for accuracy because it's probably wrong when it's giving you the stuff that comes out of it at the beginning. So, alrighty. All right, let's get into this. So we have now moved into lead follow-up. So on our pathway, we've sort of moved out of lead generation and now we're sort of into the lead follow-up section. So very exciting because this is a really important skill. I will tell you, you'll do more on Monday with this, but it is the really great start to it. I will tell you this, most real estate agents are terrible at this. I don't care if they've been in business forever or if they're brand new. This is something that if you talk to every single real estate professional, that they would say that they need to get better at this part. And it's either because most of the time for agents with big businesses, they think they don't have the time to do it. They're too busy to get everything on time. They can't hit everybody. For the new agents, they just maybe not know how to do it correctly. So it is a really big deal because if we don't follow up, we lose the business. If we do follow up, we have something there. So it is definitely something that we want to make sure we are doing. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. What is lead follow-up? Okay. All right. So to review, what is a lead? How do you define a lead?
Somebody that's interested in Buying or selling?
Yeah, it's basically someone who showed interest in the service you provide, right? And you have contact information, though you haven't engaged in a two-way conversation, or at least a significant two-way conversation, right? It's sort of the definition of someone we know is looking to buy or sell, and we just haven't gotten a connection with them yet. The goal of lead follow-up is that we bring that lead to a two-way conversation, right? Does lead follow-up only apply to leads? Does follow-up only apply to leads? I
No.
see some shaking of heads, right? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's not. It's everybody in your database, right? Whether it's a lead or a contact, if they need to get followed up with, then they need to get followed up with, right? In fact, a lot of what we do with our database is some sort of follow-up, right? Just continuously reach out to people to see how they're doing and maybe create some leads. Hold on one second. Let me just get my jacket off. It's getting hot in here today. I also have a cat climbing on me. All right. Are the people you've put in your database only in your real estate database? No. Yeah, I think that's something we also forget, right? I can guarantee you that everybody in your database, in your CRM, in your phone, is not just in yours. It's also in somebody else's pipeline. You can't think that you're the only one. And if you aren't doing the reach out, somebody else is. That's always something that you have to remember, that they are not only in your database, they're in somebody else's.
So we
ahead.
so we heard the other night that like if you do an open house and there's 10 people that come and 2 of them are not with an agent, you should still put the other 8 people in your database. Is that like that seemed odd, but
it's probably not something I would do. I know people who do it. Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out.
I mean, you're not supposed to. I mean, you should always reach out to everybody to get feedback, but you can't solicit business from somebody who's already under contract. So
right. No, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why a lot of people do when they send out marketing materials. It says like, if you're under contract, this is not meant to like solicit business, blah blah blah, blah and the disclaimers. So I mean, I can see why you'd want to keep it, because eventually that person may lose again that contract or anything like that. Just having that information. I tend to be more targeted in my approach. I'd rather work on people that are going to be available. So it's not a definite no. It's just it's a personal preference, and for me I wouldn't. So hey, it is what it is. But
yep, understood.
Yep. Yeah. So it is important to know that everybody in your database is in somebody else's database, right? So just always remember, follow-up or just reach outs are so important, because we're the ones that have to be top of mind when it comes to buying and selling. When it's time to buying and selling, we want them to work with us, and that means constant contact, right? With their follow-up. So, all right. So take a look at the graph that's on the screen, right? This is sort of the oscillation of where somebody is between, buying a house and selling their home. So how long the longevity of being in their home. On average, people are in the lifespan of their home for 7 to 10 years. It's around that. It's been going down over the years, but it might be going back up again with home prices. So we'll see. But it's just 7 to 10 years is about the average, right? So if I gave you a lead close to the top of the oscillation, would you consider that a good lead or a bad lead? So they're just about ready to move.
Good lead.
Good lead, right? Most people are going to be there, right?
Yeah.
You're going to conceive that as like a high quality lead, right? This is someone that's ready to close, ready to begin to purchase again, right? They're ready to go, right? if I gave you someone right after they purchased the house, oops, would you consider that a good or a bad lead?
Well, it's a bad lead for them, but they may know people that want to
might.
buy or sell, but
Yeah.
it's not great for
Yeah, it's not
me.
right. It's not great for you, right?
Right.
So, plenty of times we meet people sort of on that downswing, right? They just bought or sold, right? Or they're not quite ready yet. Maybe they're closer to the bottom here, right? But they're not close to the top.
So I just send her a thumbs up.
All right. So it's not a hot lead right now, but it is future potential. So we can't, disregard it altogether. It's now we need to continuously follow up with that lead so we remain sort of in close emotional proximity to that person, right? Build a relationship so that when it is time to buy or sell, that they're going to list with us, right? So if you think of your leads that enter your database through lead generation as possible business, lead follow-up helps turn the leads from possible business to probable business, right? So we're moving from, possible to probable to profitable. When selecting an agent to use, 73% of buyers only talked to one agent, and 82% of sellers only contacted one agent. From that stat, what do you guys get out of that stat?
It's good to
They
be the
got
first
mine.
person you talk to.
Yeah, you want to be the first one, right? You want to be the one they think of. They're only talking to one. So you want to be that one. And that's why lead follow-up is the important part here, right? And it sort of leads to this one. If you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business, right? It really is true. It's the concept of taking space up in people's mind, right? That reticular activator in their minds that says, oh, hey, I know a real estate agent. They're the ones that keeps contacting me. They're the ones that keep sending me stuff. They're the ones that I talk to every quarter, right? That's follow-up, and that keeps us top of mind, right? When you think back to sort of all the strategies you learned so far about lead gen, what touches do you think are the strongest when it comes to building relationships?
Consistency.
The consistency is good, but what kind of touches? So like what kind of touches yield the best results?
I'd say the more personable, the better. So the handwritten notes, the phone or in-person conversations, text just loses that personality.
I would say, yep, phone calls and like meeting in person for sure are definitely at the top of the list, right? Human connection, right? The face-to-face or the voice-to-voice, definitely good. And what do you think the weakest stars?
Email.
I would agree with you there. Email is probably one of the weakest forms of communication these days. Isn't that amazing to think, right? That these
You don't
days.
know if it's going through half the time either. It could be
Uh,
going in spam.
Yep. I mean, they don't get it half time. There is an astounding stat that 83% of emails go unread. Yeah. So, if that doesn't say anything right there, I think it is also why, as leadership, we know not to email you guys anything important because you won't read it. It's just one of those things. Like it's kind of scary, but it is one of the weakest ways to keep in touch. So we want to be mindful of that when we start following up with people, right? We want to make sure that we're following up in a way that's going to get ourselves noticed. Whether it's making sure we're following up with a phone call, that we're trying to meet them face to face, that we're trying to do something a little more personable. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do the weaker things. It just that means it takes all of it to really work, right? It takes multiple forms of communication to get that connection that you're looking for. All right. So from that first section, what did you guys get out of that?
73% of buyers contact only one agent, and 82% of sellers contact only one agent.
Yep. It's big news.
Stay top of mind.
100%. 100%.
When you're talking about how busy agents are usually not very good at the follow-up, I could totally see how even if I knew somebody, but I knew they were really busy also, I'd be like, they're probably too busy for me. I haven't heard from them in a while. Let me see who else might be available.
Yep. It's sort of interesting. So this is a real stat that really hasn't changed much at all, right? That over 80% of people say they will use their real estate agent again. Less than 20% actually do. And that average has changed from like 17 to 20, 20 back to 17 again. But that's crazy, right? That is an absolute lesson to learn, because it's a cautionary tale, meaning, hey, I got to follow up with all these people. I got to follow up. If I don't do my job, I'm going to lose the people in my database. It's also great news for all of you on this call, right? Because if you're doing your job, then you can absolutely take your unfair share. Absolutely. There's room for you to take your unfair share if you're doing what you need to be doing. So it is an excellent stat that really helps you with that. So the staying top of mind, other agents aren't doing it, and they're just relying on their, that they've used them before, or that they've, maybe talked to them once or twice over the last 10 years. But if you're doing your job, right, then you can get that business. So super, super really important to that. All right. So like, we want to be intentional when we do this, right? Being thoughtful on how we follow up is super important. We follow up in different ways to different people in our database, right? And we're going to talk about that today. Mind share is gained through sort of positioning yourself at the front of the leads, right? In front of them with consistency. I know one of you said that. And relevant and timely information, right? The goal is to open the door to two-way communication. It's try to get that two-way communication flowing, to get them thinking about you anytime they think about real estate. So through Ignite, you've been introduced to two systems, and so that engage your leads and contacts. And so do you remember what those two systems are?
Command.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Through Ignite, like through these classes, and I could be, like, this could be lying to me. Supposedly, you've learned two different systems or models of communication to the leads and contacts to your database. Do you guys remember what they are?
Board?
Nope. That is a what do you call it? A conversation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me guess. Let me just try. Is it
Okay.
prospecting and marketing?
No, but those are very good. You guys are all giving good guesses. I mean, maybe it's possible that this is lying to me and they didn't go over it. So, the two systems I'm talking about are 19 to connect and 36 to convert. Have you guys heard that yet?
We've heard it,
Okay.
but we haven't gone over it.
Yeah.
But you've heard about it.
We did.
Okay. All right, so at least you've heard about it. So it's kind of lying, but we're going to go deep into it today. So the 19 and 36 to convert. So a 19 touch and a 36 touch. I'm also, by the way, going to add in a third one for you that's not in the book, but I still think is relevant. So you're going to get a little tidbit from me. I'm really shocked they took it out. But I like it very much. Okay. So a 19 to connect is for your leads. A 19 to connect is 19 individual touches to bring a lead into connection with you. There's the 36 touch, which I think if you've been around the Keller Williams enough, 36 touches might sound familiar to you. 36 touch is 36 individual touches that we have with our contacts to make sure that we stay in a relationship with them, build better relationships with them, and that we're going to convert leads from our database with 36 touches. So 19 touches are to get people working with us, and 36 are to get the ones who are already been with us or know us into giving us pieces of business. So that's what we're going to work on today. I'm also going to give you that the other one that's not in here is the 8x8, which is 8 touches over 8 weeks. And as we go through all these, I will bring up when you can use that one. But we're going to start with the 19 touch.
Could I ask a favor?
You may.
Could you minimize that a little bit so we can get to see the other side of the 36?
Minimize it.
There we go.
That better? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about the 19 touches. So the 19 touches are made up of 4 phone calls, 12 touches that are some sort of monthly email, newsletter, market reports, video, right? Whatever you want. 2 touches related to promotional direct mail. So some sort of 2 mailings, right? And 1 touch that is a client event or a party. I'm going to say that 1 touch that's a client event or a party can be something else because not everybody, especially a new agent, is not most likely going to be doing a client event or a party, especially for a lead. I don't necessarily like that. It's in here. I know I'm being recorded. However, it's not something you're necessarily going to do, and you can turn that touch into something else, whether it's a pop buy or something else that may be a little more personal because you may not be having an event. So, right? But the intent is to spread these 19 touches over the calendar year, which equates to 1 touch about every 3 weeks, right? The goal of this is communication and to establish a formal relationship with the lead to turn them into a 2-way communication, right? So we're just literally reaching out to them for 19 times a year to turn them into something that's more than just a lead, right? When do you think a lead should be added to a 19 touch?
So when should it be when they give us their contact information?
Yeah, you got it right away. Yeah, you should be putting them on some sort of communication system like immediately, right? Whether it's, if you're using a smart plan or some other system, as soon as you have the information, you should be putting them directly on some sort of campaign so that you're doing your reach outs when you need to do them. And speed to lead, especially leads, is super important, right? The quicker we reach out to someone, the better. Especially if it's a buyer lead, like an open house lead or even a seller lead. If someone is expressing interest to us in some way of buying and selling, it should be immediate, right? If I'll give you an example. For example, let's just say I'll use internet leads as an example. An internet lead, if you lose an internet lead in 15 minutes, that's how quick they want a response. It seems so stupid, but it is the way we are. Think about it, like as us as humans, how quickly do we move on to the next thing in general? Right? Think about how quick when we don't get a response on something, we're like, yep, done. I'm not gonna get, like most of us say, I'm not giving them another chance, I'm going to somebody else, right? They're doing the same thing for some of us. So one of the things that we always say is like, if you have something like automatic responders on all your lead sources to make sure that like at least something's going out on your behalf, it's super important, right? For Facebook leads, we make sure that when a Facebook lead comes in, we have a smart plan that runs automatically so that they're getting immediately an email from us saying, hey, thanks so much for reaching out. Someone will give you a call as soon as possible, right? Like it's an immediate response so that they're not going somewhere else. They know someone's paying attention. So it's really important, speed to lead. I can't give you enough on that. It's very, very important. It is just something that we absolutely need to think about. So when we talk about building our 19 Connect or any of these programs, right? The 19 to 36, right? What are the best practice? Sorry, I forgot that I have to make this bigger for you. It's also very difficult. I'm trying to like keep everything up on my screen. Right? As you get started, as you begin to generate leads, especially if you're doing your activities, there are some considerations you should make regarding your follow-up plan, right? Your best practices, right? So match the touch campaign with your strengths, right? So how best do you reach out to people? Is it better for you to send an email before you reach out with a phone, right? That's an automatic like speed to lead, right? Depending on what kind of touch it is. Like if you don't necessarily have the time all the time to pick up the phone and be like, hey, I saw you left a message for me, right? Then an email might be quicker for you than that says I will call you later and then follow up with a phone call, right? Whether it's being prepared to send out that email having marketing information or something that's ready to go ahead of time so that you can then call and follow up later, right? Know your strengths, know your schedules so that you can sort of tailor your 19 touch, right? However that it would work best for you. So that it sets up your personal standard of speed to lead. What time frame do you expect yourself to communicate to that lead to, right? So, some of the things to think about, what are my strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of 19 Connect to represent me, right? What are some reasons I might have for contact to the lead? What are some touches to do before and after a phone call? How am I using conversations to let the person know I'm in real estate? How to contact me and how to refer the business to me? When is it best for me in my business to time block for lead and follow-up? And how much time should it take to reach out to a lead? What will I do to hold myself accountable? And what do I need to make sure this happens, right? So all these things are what you should think about when creating your models. And one of the things I will also mention here that's not mentioned elsewhere is your touches might change depending on where the lead is coming from, right? A 19 touch for a buyer will look different than a 19 touch for a seller, 100%, because you'll be sending buyer references to buyer and seller references to seller. So you should have more than one that's coming in from the internet should look different than one that comes in an open house, right? So they should all look different. So you can have more than one model for your system, right? The you'll sort of make it work depending on where it is. Like the basics can be the same, right? Like you can send marketing information and stuff about you and things like that. That's fine. But it should be tailored to what kind of lead it is. Because the way you talk to one person should not equal all people in terms of the type where they're coming from, right? You want to make sure that you're hitting them somewhere that makes makes sense for them. You're not going to send buyer, stuff about buying in a place to a seller, right? So, because otherwise they're going to go somewhere else because you're obviously not paying attention at that point, right? So you got to make sure that your touches match up. So, excuse me, Lord in heaven. Doop, doop, doop. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. So here's some ideas for your 19 touch plan, right? So 4 calls, right? Connect with every lead quarterly, offer something of value and ask for a referral. 12. And so they have, examples of 1 birthday card, 4 marketing reports, 4 informative videos, 2 informative emails, 1 neighborhood newsletter, 2 promotional things, a sports team schedule, annual calendar, and 1 event. So organized neighborhood park cleanup. So this is an example, right? So I want you guys to think about things that you might do or you might send for your 19 Connect plan. So, and remember, it's this 19 touch is like based on top agents. They would do this to connect with people. Depending on what you do, there might be costs associated with it. So think about that, right? I do like that it is not cost heavy for a 19 touch. You should not be spending much money on leads in terms of like connecting with them because we don't know where they're at. I would say keep it mostly digital. A couple of postcards is fine, things like that. But like, especially if you're new and you don't have a lot of disposable income, keep it low cost, right? Whatever you're doing. So remember to think about that. So let's think of some ideas of things that we can send. So give me some things for the 12 emails. What should we send for that? Well, give me some ideas.
Monthly, like a newsletter thing that talks about, maybe has a recipe, excuse me, or
Mhm.
something like that, but then has a little bit at the end about, your real estate, but not the whole thing about it. Like maybe, like I said, like a recipe thing, like Tony was talking the other night about that, or maybe there's some stuff going on in the town and you'd send that out once a month or something.
Yep. Okay, great. I like that. Some sort of newsletter. That's good. What else?
I like to send
Uh,
cards, even like the birthday cards, the statistical reports. Everybody loves those. If it's for a seller, I would do an RPR. So I pull up their property card and an RPR, so that gives me an idea of the value of their home,
Mhm.
and I give them a nice ballpark.
Can you, for my new agents on the call, can you explain what an RPR is for them?
What is it called? Realtor.
It's a really good. I
um,
don't actually know what it stands for.
Yeah, it's some kind of, it helps you. And it's incredible because like my friends, family, neighbors, clients, they are so impressed. And it's literally 2 minutes. You just type in the address. I do take an additional 2 minutes to pull up the property card So I make sure that it's not way off in left field.
The information's good. It stands for Realty Property Resource, by the way.
Thank you.
Realtors Property Resource.
That.
Yeah, and all realtors have access to it. It is a realtor tool that you all have access to. So I love that. For a seller, you might send them just seller the information regarding their home if you know what it is. Perfect.
Diana, when you said statistical reports, what type of stuff are you talking about with that?
So NHAR sends a monthly and it's kind of behind. Like I'm sending out June's right now. I'd really like July's, but I don't have it yet. And they just send a monthly.
It's all right. Mass is behind too. MARS is behind too.
So and just kind of, like I get on lenders' emails too, so I kind of have an idea. And I have my husband coaching me too, like, what's the interest rate today? What's going on? How's, what would it be to finance? So I have the number in my head at 6.57 yesterday. So I might even just forward something like that. I have a girlfriend that has all daughters, so I sent her a picture of a pink tub and a listing, and we just laughed, and it was nothing, but it was a touch. I have another client and her name was on a street sign, so I sent it to her. And I mean, they're all touches.
They're all touches. And those, Diana, those would definitely bring to the 36 touches, but I do love those because those are personal and I love that. That is the way to go. 100%. All right, so we got market information, absolutely. And RPR is a great resource. Your board is a great resource for market information. Almost every single board, I think, in New England has some sort of stats that they give out. I know that the MAR does, Rhode Island does too. So there's definitely stats you can find. One more thing that we can send to leads via email.
Well, I mean, the sports team schedule is there, but I was gonna add holiday cards.
Yep, you can do holiday stuff. That's absolutely fine. People do that all the time for cards and things like that. How about, wouldn't it be cool if you knew it was a buyer or a seller if you sent them information on how the process of buying and selling works? Maybe a video to go along with that. If we want to get, because people love video, it is way better than reading an email. So, think about some other things that you could send depending on where you're getting that lead from. And I will challenge you all because video is king these days, to make sure that you have something in video. You can even embed the video right into your email, so it's right there so they can click and go to the video. So there's lots of things you can do with that. So yeah, so we've got, sports schedules, calendars, other things like that, other ways to sort of connect with people. So there's a lot we can do with that 19 touch to solidify our leads. When you generate the lead and captured their info, you can talk to them, right? So you got to make sure, if you haven't heard back and you don't know much about the person, your communication is going to be a lot broader than it would be if you had them in your contact database already. So you will need to focus sort of on a range with your leads. So you can't just can't be as personal as you'd like to be, but you need to focus on your value proposition, right? Which you guys talked about in day 4 of Ignite. So you can even use company statistics. Like, you guys are new, but it doesn't mean that you can't lean on your office or KW for statistics. Grab what your market share is. I hazard a guess that a lot of you guys have some pretty good market share in your neighborhood, and use that information to send out. As you engage with them, you're going to uncover things that you're going to learn a lot more about them, right? Which you can then segment them into groups that you can connect with on a regular basis in a more detailed information, right? Like we're not going to be able to start off the Netflix of real estate when we first meet them, but we'll be able to turn into the Netflix of real estate as we get more about them. Relationships are sort of built on that personalized communication. So the more we can get. So you need to look beyond sort of the who when you contact a lead. The best way to start is craft your message based on the source that it came from. If the lead, if the lead came from social media about first-time home buyers, you send them first-time home buyer stuff, right? So once again, like tailoring your reach outs and your model depending on where that lead came from. So once the door is open to two-way communication, then you can get really more personalized and sort of work with that. So you want to make sure that you're using this information to group people in the right way.
I just want to say something real quick to that. I've had some referrals, like personal referrals, like from my kids, and just be very careful about the personal lines. And like my son will say, well, how are they doing? Well, what are they going to pre-approve for? And I'm like, well, you'll have to ask them.
Well, yeah,
because you just, you want to say something, but you can't. So that's just something to be careful of and bite your tongue, and vice versa.
Correct. You're not going to give somebody information about your other conversations. What I mean by being personal is by understanding what they value and what they need and what their interests are so that you can tailor your communication to them, right? So if someone's in my database and they don't have kids, they're not going to like it when I send them kids related stuff, right? But if they are foodies and I send them information about a new restaurant coming in, they'll like that, right? And that solidifies my relationship with them. It's why we definitely make sure that we categorize people so well in our database so that we can have those personalized touches. But in terms of with leads, we may not know as much, but we can still personalize it a little bit. So for example, if I had a lead come in an open house from Holliston, let's just say because I live in Holliston, I know that I can send them items of value specific to them if I continuously send them price reductions in Holliston. That would be useful because I know they were looking in Holliston, so I can tailor my communication with them regarding on that. So I can be personal in some level, just not all the levels, right? So just think about that when you're creating your communications regarding those things. You can get a little personalized. You don't have to send it just on buying in general. You could send it on buying on the area that they're looking for, right? So that can help a little bit with that kind of stuff. So you can sort of kind of leads into this, right? Following up on your lead sources to narrow your range of value. Knowing the source so you compare the value with the communication, like I just said, like price reductions for someone who's looking for an open house. You brainstorm stuff that's going to work, right? So for an example, let's do something. So if someone came into me for possibly selling, what are some things I could send them? And I know Diana gave me some good stuff, market research. What else could I send a seller?
Houses that recently sold in their neighborhood. How many
Right.
days on market, how much over, how much under, upgrades.
I like that.
As opposed to what they have for square footage and upgrades and garage and all the amenities.
Cool, I like that.
How about
Excellent.
ways to get the house ready for sale, like how to increase your curb appeal?
Love that, Gina. That's great. Like ways, how can I get my house ready to sell? Love it. Maybe something about like, what kind of renovation should I make in my home, right? Don't make big ones, like make small changes, those kinds of things, staging. Those are great resources for somebody who's a seller, right? For buyers, we kind of talked about a little bit about how like you could talk about, price reductions, things available in the area, but stuff about moving, stuff about changing addresses, right? There's a whole bunch of slew of things that you could send that's very specific to the type of lead they are, so that it's more, it hits better. It hits better than just a one-to-many marketing. So consider your lead source before, putting together your touches with them, right? And it does help if you have like a better set of, like I said, have a plan, have a 19 touch for all of these, so that you don't have to think about making it every time. They're just pre-done, and you know that you can just send them ahead of time. So, okay. All right. So give me some ahas from that section.
You can lose an internet lead in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. But it's true.
Be specific and have intent when you're sending out your touches.
Love that.
The speed to lead.
Speed to lead, baby. Cool.
I'm not sure if it's an aha, but it's a concept that dawned on me. When you said cleaning up the neighborhood park was one of the ideas
Yep.
for events. And I was thinking that would be a great way to multitask a bunch of stuff if you picked a neighborhood and went out with the trash bags and cleaned up the trash on the side of the road. Also gives you an opportunity to door knock.
That's
Or if
cool.
it's someplace that you already have customers, to do pop buys as well.
I like that a lot. My neighborhood used to do trash pickup every Earth Day. We used to get together and do like an Earth Day get together to like go pick up in the neighborhood the trash. Could be a fun little activity. You could hand out like really bright yellow pennies so they didn't get run over by people, and maybe have your logo on it. I love that. All right, cool. All right, so let's go to this here. So the post lead follow-up, right? So this is what we're talking about today. Today we're talking specifically about post lead follow-up, right? This is this section, the lead section. We're trying to bring them from leads to contacts, right? We're trying to get that two-way communication. We're trying to we've got permission to contact them, but we're trying to bring them in, get a piece of business out of them, and get them into contacts. Connecting with them does not necessarily mean they will do business with you. It does happen, right? That's okay. Whether it's a leader or contact your database, every person should be on a touch campaign. Everybody should be on a touch campaign in your database. Something. I don't care if it just is something as simple as you put everybody in neighborhood nurture. It doesn't matter who they are, they will like it. You gotta be consistent, and you gotta do it to cement mind share. You have to be first. You have to be first. You have to be top of mind. And that's the way that this way this business works. You just have to be there. One of the other things I said I would bring up, right? So we talked about the 19 to connect. Did you guys talk about 8x8s at all before this? Okay. So 19 Connect is great. Like, it's a lead. We have the information and we're connecting with them 19 times throughout the year. I will tell you this. I think it's super important to have an 8x8 as part of that 19, or maybe even before that 19. So what an 8x8 is, it's 8 connections over a period of 8 connections in a period of 8 days, right? Or 8 weeks, depending on what you're on. But if you have a buyer and a seller lead that comes in, like an open house or things like that, you can't wait for a whole year to connect with them for 19 times, right? If you do that, you're more than likely going to lose the buyer, right? So we have a system called 8x8. So 8 connections in 8 days, which means when somebody comes in an open house, like they know they're looking to buy, they know they're looking to sell, I should be connecting with them quicker and at a more frequent pace for a shorter amount of time before moving them into that 19 connect, right? Because we're trying to convert them right away. Because what do you think happens to a buyer who's looking and you didn't connect with them right away within that first 8 days? You think they're still gonna be around?
They're gonna go to another open house and see another agent and yeah.
They're gonna
You're
go to,
gone.
yes. Who's gonna be calling them and sending them stuff, right? So they're gonna do 8 different steps of communication before you can even get your first one in, or you just got one, right? And that's gonna be a lot bigger of a difference. So I do think an 8x8 is warranted for a buyer or a seller, because you need to convert them quickly because they will go to someone else if you are not. After that sort of first, some people do 10 days of, they call it 10 days of pain. Some people do like 10 connections. But after that 8 days, then you can slow it down, right? Because at that point, they're either just not ready to do anything with you or at all, or they're just not ready yet. And so you can slow it down to your slower connection pace. But I do feel like you need to reach out at a bigger basis, right? So if you came in my open house, I'm calling you, I'm sending you information, I'm, sending you and texting you, and I'm probably doing it a couple of times until I get a connection with you, right? Within those 8 days. So I do think that your first touches should be quicker. Diane, it seems like you are a little bit have some experience underneath you. Would you agree? She's still here?
Sooner is better than later.
Yes, right? So I'm like I said, I'm surprised it's not here anymore. So, right? But if the 8x8 is I used to have a class called 8x8 equals magic, right? So it's really important to keep in touch with people. They're also going to remember you too. An 8x8 can be used in many, many different forms. One of the things that's my favorite way to have an 8x8 is an 8. If you meet somebody on the street, let's just say, Bruce, you and I meet on the street somewhere, we had a really great conversation and you gave me your information. If I don't talk to you in 8 weeks and somebody asks you about me, are you going to remember who I am? Nope. You'd be like, Maggie, I think she was that short girl. I think she was kind of weird.
Kind of a Star Wars nerd. I don't
She's kind of a nerd, but I don't remember too much about her, right? However, if after I met with you for that first time, and then I sent you a note card that got to you, and then I called you to ask if you've got that note card, and then maybe I sent you a couple more things afterwards, right? If I connected with you 8 times over those 8 weeks, would you remember who I was?
More than likely.
More than likely, right? That's cementing the relationship, right? That is cementing it in your mind who I am, right? You're going to remember me after that. I'm not going to be annoying about it, right? I'm not going to feel like, hey, like every week just calling you up on the phone, because you're going to disown me at that point. But I am going to give you items of value. I'll talk to you, and that's 8. That's that 8x8, right? And then you move right from someone I just met into my contacts, and we can get on a 36 touch, right? So an 8x8 for leads is quicker, right? Because you have a very short amount of time, and then you get the 8x8, and so you get into the 19 touch kind of a thing. So it's a flow of information in your database, but each person has a different way that needs to be connected with. So any questions regarding what I mean by an 8x8 and connecting with people sort of quickly on a more urgent matter?
These are just like quicker, like texts and stuff, right? That you're talking about with the 8.
Emails, texts, phone calls, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna try a phone call first, obviously. Like, it might be an email first right away, depending on where you're coming from, right? The immediate email that says I'm gonna call you. Then there's then there's a phone call, maybe a text message, maybe another email, maybe another phone call. I'm probably
And-
gonna call, if I don't hear from you, if you're from my open house, I'm probably gonna call you probably two or three times within that first 8 days, just to see if you will call me back to give me at least information on how you thought the house was, right? So I won't be nosy about it, but be like, hey, like, I called you, you may not have missed my message, I was just seeing if I can get some information from you, right? And then work to get that conversation going. And I'll just keep sending stuff, and then I'll move it into the 19 touch to slow it down. If I don't hear from you in 8 days, more than likely you're just not ready, right? Or it's not going to work for at least now. That's all. Any other questions regarding that?
Oh, I have. Do I understand correctly, like, we should do that every single day in 8 days for one person, like to call one person after open house?
I'm not going to call you every day, but I'll give you a phone call. I'll probably send you a message the next day. I'll probably text you the third day. I'll probably call you again on the fourth day, send another message on the fifth day. So I'll probably do a different one each time for those 8 days before I
In a
put you
row.
on
So
yeah, in a row.
8 days in a row.
Yep.
Oh my God, I think people are gonna be so upset about that.
I mean, they'll get back to me more than likely one way or the other, right? At some point. If they don't, they don't.
What is the closest time to reach them out after open house? Like in 2-3 hours, next day, 2 days after?
I mean, some people call the same day, depending on when it was. At the very least, next day.
Okay,
At the
all
very
right,
least,
thank you.
next day. Yep.
Thank you.
If you can, talk to them at the open house. That's my favorite mode of travel, like at the open house. It's not always, you're not always able to do it, especially if it's busy. But if you have a really good open house, and let's just say someone came in and you're having a conversation with them, let's just say, you came up to me, Veronica, and I was talking with you, and it was my open house, and you're like, well, it wasn't quite right? It's missing it doesn't have blah, 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 right? I need that third bedroom, right? Hopefully I did my research ahead of time and I know what's available in the market and be like, oh, Veronica, I love, there's actually a home that's for sale that's not having an open house right now. That meets your criteria. It's very much like this one, but it has that third bedroom. Would you be interested in seeing it? And you'd probably say yes. It's like, so I'd say, okay, great. Why don't we get something scheduled right now to go see it? Right? Trying to get an appointment before you leave the room is super great. So in an open house, the better, you can't always do it because you're not necessarily gonna able to have a conversation with everybody if it's a really busy open house. But if
Another
it,
question, if a person agrees to go with me to the another house, I should sign up the agreement, right?
heck yeah,
To be
right?
able to show that.
Great. I'd be like, awesome. Let's set up that appointment. I'm gonna set those things up, and then let's schedule like 10 minutes to be there beforehand so I can just go over our relationship.
Okay.
So that you can do at least a quick buyer agreement before you walk in the home with them.
Oh, just for one time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're not going to show it to them without actually getting the stuff, but you can set that appointment and then meet them there a little bit ahead of time, do a quick one. Hopefully that leads to something good, and then you can do a full meeting with them, a full sit down at that point to go over buying and selling at that point. Sometimes you just have to show some value before they'll sit down with you. In a perfect world, if you're like, oh, this is your like 6th open house. It sounds like we need to talk about this. So let's do a buyer consultation and make to make this process a little bit easier for you, right? But it doesn't always work like that. They're going to say no a lot to that kind of a thing, but we could get something that's a quicker basis and then show some value and move to something else. Okay. So that one to cement, right? At the point where the lead opens the door for a two-way conversation. So lo and behold, I'm in the middle of my touches and they've contacted me back, right? Fantastic. We love this. We have a two-way conversation going. We need to cement them in the relationship. So what do you think a one to cement touch would look like with somebody? So you and I, I'm your client and you've been trying to get a hold of me, whether it was with the 8x8 or a 19 touch, and I call you back, which is you're very excited. What can we do to cement this relationship? Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Ask for a meeting at the office and
Mhm.
go over whatever buying process, sale process, whatever.
Yep.
Just invite them to the office.
Great. Yeah. Something to sit down so I can show my value. Love it.
Oh, you mean buyer or seller presentation, right?
A buyer seller presentation. Yep. One to cement. That would be great. Right. Whatever this touch is, it should tell them about the service you provide. It should help set up a conversation for later. It should serve as a reminder of the interaction. And then it should also tell them how to refer business to you, right? So those are the 4 things that we wanted to do. It's a touch that's going to really show our wall of value, like why you should work with me more than anyone else.
Can you list those 4 things again?
Sure. You should tell them about the service you provide. What do you do? And do you do anything that's better than anybody else or different than anybody else? Maybe not necessarily better, but a unique skill you have. It should help set up a conversation to later, right? So set up another appointment of something. Serve as a reminder of the interaction. So maybe leave something, maybe offer them something, and tell them how to refer you business to you. Those are the 4. So setting up a consultation is one thing to cement. What else can we use to cement?
Collaboration email of what they're looking for in a house and
Mhm.
Location.
Love it. Okay. What else? Give me one more thing.
I've given out books for first-time home buyers, and I've also had like classes with lenders, which are so much easier than how it sounds. It's just very laid back and question and answer and just information.
That is such a great touch too. If you don't know, we have a book for it. We have a book for everything, but there is a book called Your First Home. And it was written by Gary Keller and his pals. You can buy it on kellerinc.com. I think you can also buy it on amazon.com. And it's a book for your buyers about buying a home. What a great little gift to drop by, right? To drop off during that interaction or give to someone. You say like, hey, I would love to send you this book, right? What's your address? I'm going to send it to you right away, right? It costs a little bit of money, but it's totally worth it, right? Because it's giving them an item of value right away. And I love, Diana, you mentioned like having home buying seminars, because that's a great way to get leads too. The best thing about Keller Inc. is there's resources in Keller Inc. that actually give you everything you need to host your first your home buying seminar. So it gives you the PowerPoint, the advertising. It gives you everything you need to host it. And you just get a whole bunch of those books and you can just give them away during it. And the cool thing is if you partner with a mortgage person, they'll pay for everything. So you don't have to worry about that. So just a thought for all of you guys here, buying and doing a first time homebuyer seminar or just a homebuyer seminar is super good. Yes, Lisbeth.
Keller Inc. That's where you find that.
KellerInc.com. KELLERINK.com. There you go. Sue, I love that. If dropping off a book, make sure you glue a card and write a personal note on the first page. Great idea. Love that. It's fantastic. I mean, it really is and I will say this too. Think beyond just the first time home buyer seminar. Make it just a buyer's seminar. You can do a seller's seminar, also important. And you can also do an investment seminar. Most people stop at first home buyer seminar, but you can do one on all of those and you will hit everybody. So, and you don't necessarily need to be the expert, right? You just need to know that you need to partner up with somebody who is very good at it, right? Bring a mortgage company, partner up with your mortgage people in your office, partner up with the attorneys in your office, right? You
Bring
will
an
find a
insurance
vendor.
agent.
See, there you go. I love it. Thanks, Bruce. So there's a lot there. Elizabeth, you have something else? Nope. I think her.
No, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. All right. So before we move to finish up for tonight, because we definitely went through everything pretty quick. I told you I'd get through it quick today, guys. I'd love to hear some ahas about today. And I can put up the KWU eval while we're to go over it. If you wouldn't mind doing the eval for today, I'd greatly appreciate it. So let's hear some ahas and how we follow up with the leads that we get.
I actually have quick feedback about this page.
Yes.
I don't know if you help train the people who lead the other classes, but so many other leaders have just blown past this page.
So
And
many other leaders don't care. I do.
fair enough.
I'm trying to get my KWU certification, so I need you guys to do this.
I actually, as far as an aha, I'm glad you shared the 8x8 because when you were talking about the 19 and the 36, and I was like a whole year on like an active lead, like that just seems
No, it's too long. Yeah,
right.
you gotta do it the short term, which is why I'm surprised it's not in this. I'm hoping that they go over to a different thing, but in case they don't, I want you guys to know about the 8x8. So, because they're quick touches. Like I said, some people do like the 10 days of pain, like 10 days worth of stuff. I like the 8x8 because I think it's just something I grew up with Keller Williams because I've been talking about it for ages. But 8x8 is you have to be quick. If you're not, somebody else is taking it from you. So, and it does seem like a lot, but it's not.
It does seem like a lot.
Yeah.
Like as far as the people, like, are they gonna deal with that? But I see how it probably works.
It does. And you can be strategic about it. So you're not like I'm not going to call every single day, right? I am going to call, leave a nice message, right? Then I'm going to send an email with lots of information. And then I'll send a text message with some information. This is probably like every single day. And then I'll call again. and be like,
Yeah.
hey, I think you might have missed my call. I'm just trying, like, blah blah blah. Like, because it's funny. Like, people are get embarrassed that they don't return your call if you like leave the message like, oh, you might have missed my call. I'm just looking for, like, they'll actually start calling you back after like the third one. So they'll be like, and then it'll be like them being apologetic for, I'm sorry I missed your call. It starts
Right.
you off on a good foot.
Yep.
Yep. And as long as the information is not the same every single time you're sending something, and it may be something different and an item of value, it's not going to be the biggest of deals, right? If you're sending like every time, hey, I didn't hear from you. Hey, I didn't hear from you. Hey, I didn't hear from you. That's a different story. Like, just change it up. Like, give something of value every single time, but they're not like, here's my mobile app. This will help you search for properties. Here's some information about lenders, right? Do you need a mortgage? Like, here's all this stuff. Like, just different stuff, you'll be okay. They're not going to get mad at you. And then you're going to slow it down a little bit, because obviously after 8,
Yeah.
they're not going to, if they're not doing anything in 8 days, they're not that important. It's not that important to them. So, yep. Go ahead, Bruce.
Two things.
Mhm.
At what point do you have them sign the relationship disclosure agreement?
As soon as you start talking
Real
properties.
estate?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it could be 10th touch, 12th touch, somewhere way down the line. It's nothing
Yeah.
that's, by the way, because you're talking to me, I need to have you just understand
Yeah,
what
like,
I'm about.
giving general advice is one thing, but when we start talking about a specific property, I need you to sign an agency disclosure and a buyer agreement at that point in time, right? And two, like, and by the way, like, just so you all know, right, this 19 touch or the 8x8 is to just get a connection. Once we have that connection, we're shutting off our stream, because all those other connections were just about getting into you to call me back, right? Or get it back to me. Once I have that two-way communication, then I'm going to move you over to my 36 touch or whatever communication that we need to go to from there. So we're moving them from one place to another. The 19 touches for leads only. Okay.
And the mobile app, I
Yes.
downloaded it. Is is there a way to download it as an agent, or is it just you download it and it's there and then you send the link to other people and they have to go find you, or
So you have your own link, right? So you want to make sure that you're sharing your personal link. That's huge. Do not share the generic one, because then they have to go find you as an agent and all that other fun stuff. You want to share your personal app. The easiest and quickest way to do that is from the command app. That's the one with the red background, white letters, white letters. In the command app, if you click on your face, one of the options is share your app, your mobile app. And that's the easiest way and the best way to send it, if you ask me, because it goes over with some nice language about, here's my app, and like, we'd love to know what you think, blah, blah, blah. So it's got some nice language with it, and it looks like it's coming from you, the agent. So sharing it from the
so
command app, best way to do it.
if we downloaded the app from the App Store, I still use that, but I shouldn't use that, or does that
You
not matter?
shouldn't
It's not
use
if I send them
I mean, I use it personally, but don't share. Did you,
that.
by the way, did you make yourself your agent on your app, by the way?
Not yet, no.
Okay, make yourself your agent.
Okay.
Do that. Anybody here, if you haven't made yourself your agent on your app, do it, because that way you get to see what the interaction looks like between you and your and your clients, right? You get to see that way. Sorry, this is turning into a tech class suddenly. So but make sure you do that. But Bruce, you can share once you've got it, you know, once you get yourself as your agent, you could share it, but don't do it that way, because it'll go over differently than if you shared it through the command app. It'll go over as like, oh, check out my agent's app, right? But you are the agent, so you want to make sure it goes from the command app, because it looks like you, the agent, are sending it. So
Can you show how
100%.
to do that?
I cannot on this account, because it won't let me share my screen on my phone. I am going to be doing on one of my Tech Mondays, not this week, but the next one. So not this coming Monday, but the one after, I will be doing an app class.
Okay.
Because there's a few new things that came out for the command app that I wanted to show everybody. So I wanted to bring that up, but I was going to show all of the apps at once. Yes, so I'll be sharing that too. And also ask your leadership should also know how to do it too. But if you come to my tech class, I will show you everybody how to do it.
All right.
Today I just can't because this account doesn't let me share my screen on my phone, which is dumb. So but yeah, Lizbeth, I see you have a question.
Two things. So the 19 to connect is for lead, but the 36 to convert is I already have two-way communication, so they're getting closer. The lead is hotter and they want to communicate with me.
Yeah,
So that's when
36 touch is for people you've had connection with. So they're for everybody else in your database. They're for your database. A 36 touch.
Okay.
Yep.
And the other thing is, so you are saying that the app class is the Monday tech thing in Zoom, and you're gonna be there on the 25th?
What's the 25th?
Gonna be giving.
Is that Labor Day?
No, Labor Day is the 1st. So
Okay,
the
then yeah, I
25th.
will be. Yeah. So
And the reason why I'm asking that is that business card for me, I have never been able to use it. Something, I don't know, it gives me a message.
business card? You mean the app?
Yeah, the app, when I'm trying to share it and share my business card and whatever, it gives me an error message and
Oh,
I
that's
cannot
interesting.
figure it out.
I mean, I can give you some ideas on that. I mean, is your marketing profile done and stuff?
Yes.
If everything's set up correct and you're getting an error message when you share it, and I'm not sure what your error message is, that may be a ticket with KW. Because that's
You don't
just
have
automatic.
an email for take.
Support@kw.com. Because that sounds like a bug for you specifically.
Can you repeat that? Support at
KW.com.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah, it's simple enough. But yeah. Yeah, if you're not getting your QR code, then we've got a problem.
I do get a QR code, but every time that I try to share it, it just won't work. It keeps giving me messages, and I have tried with my kids and whatever, and just
That's
won't do it.
weird. I wonder if it's your phone too, but reach out to them. They might have some ideas. All right, cool. All right. Any other ahas for today? Oop. Okie dokie. All right. I hope this was helpful. 19 touch is very important. I'm guessing they're gonna dive into 36 touch next week. Just I'm skipping ahead just to yeah, they're gonna talk 36 touch next week, which is also very, very important because that's for your database. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go enjoy. And yeah, we'll see you next time. I'm sure you'll see me again. I get to pick up the ones no one else does. So I'll see you guys around.
Thank
Bye.
you.